Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Letter, where once again we have a decision to make. I think we decided to go with care to explain your reasons. Choice 2. Someone's got to help us out here.
He's like a magic 8-ball.
Yeah. All right. See what we got.
All right.
Care to explain your reasons?
I've not meant for it to sound as harsh as it does, but anger and frustration have never been a good match in me, particularly in nights like this. It's not surprising when Ashton jerks back as if I've struck him. For a fleeting moment, something akin to hurt darts across his features, his eyes narrowing and hands closing in tightly into a fist at his sides. Then swiftly he glances away and shifts his focus on the line of trees nearby, like an answer can be gleaned from the dark expanse. Oh, we didn't. How did we do? Yeah, we're back to neutral.
I'm really sorry, Becca.
There you are.
What is it for? For the party? The vague answers he continues to give. Does it include all those times before this, the year's worth of it? I don't doubt its sincerity. However, at the moment, the forgiveness he's asking isn't something I'm all too willing to hand, furious as I am. It's frankly a wonder how I can keep myself from raising my voice at him.
We'll talk about this tomorrow.
Why don't we talk about it now?
Yeah.
And you better have a proper answer for me by then.
No, you're giving him way too long to think about this.
Yeah.
On the spot. Apology.
There's a brief hesitation before I step away. A short moment of wanting to say more, of waiting if he has anything to add. He's only silent, eyes still trained at a distance. It is the last glimpse I see of him before I climb inside his car. If the door slams closed with the same force as the anger I'm holding, its sound merely vanishes into the night unnoticed. He follows soon after, and shortly we're on our way back to the city. Yet even with the city's bright lights welcoming us, the dense, somber air from the mansion still lingers. The moon is almost at its highest by the time we reach Salem Well. Even after our respective heads have cooled off, the atmosphere within the car remains rife with unspoken
Don't
tension.
they have like a 30-minute drive? They couldn't have hashed this out then?
No.
Okay.
Apparently she's too angry.
Oh, okay. Women's scorn.
Something like that. I think they mentioned that a couple episodes back. This isn't a problem so easily fixed with a few handshakes. Quite frankly, I don't know what will. Ashton himself has no idea what to do when he alights and dawdles awkwardly in the middle of the car park, unsure. It almost seems like he's having an internal debate whether he should say goodbye or mutter another apology. I could have driven him away purely out of spite the second I've gotten off. Still, old habits die hard. It's late and Ashton's flat is on the other side of the city. Irritation might start to rear its head every time I look at him right now, but I'm not too cruel to put him up on another long drive, especially when he still appears as if he hasn't gotten any rest.
You can borrow the couch.
I throw the keys to my flat his way before a protest forms on his lips. Although he catches it with ease, he eyes it with weary expression and shoots a puzzled glance my way.
You haven't been forgiven. We're still going to have that talk, believe me.
She's making sure you don't leave the apartment before you have this conversation so you can't go hide for weeks.
Oh, that's good.
That's exactly what this is.
But I'm not about to send you out on another drive looking like that. It's late. Go get some rest.
You have to go to the apartment too.
Yeah. We're setting aside a lot of loose ends like this, but he appears to have accepted the reason, at least in the meantime. He does give me another questioning glance when I shove it past him, pulling my mobile in the process.
Where are you going? I thought...
You go ahead upstairs. I need to contact Professor Andrew.
Andrew? Why would you... Oh, no. Please. Is this that thing Isabella said this morning?
Oh my God.
Again? I already gave her my word, Becca. I'll look into this BRC crap. No need to drag the old guy into it.
Of course, he's still skeptical. Makes me wonder if he's even seeing anything at all. Figures this curse will stay away from the scoffer. But this is another loose end tonight that I can't just leave alone, Ashton's beliefs notwithstanding. I'm pretty sure he has seen something at this point.
Yeah, and he just keeps keeping up this like facade of like, oh, I'm cool and collected and nothing bothers me and you guys are all nuts.
Well, I think he's probably does the same thing everyone else did at the start where they try to like rationalize it away.
Maybe. But I think by like day 28, everyone's kind of been like, there's crazy crap going on
what
in
is
that house.
it? What is this? It just so happens that it's one I can delve into using means other than taking a look at the mansion itself.
Ashton, do you really think I still give a shite after that stunt you pulled tonight?
No, but this is...
I spent so many years with him to know this is about to turn into another argument. Before he can finish it, I cut him off with a firm raise of my hand.
Look, I don't care. There are weird things happening around here. And yes, it's Isabella's brand of weird. Ghostly voices, strange sounds, and a bloody woman sitting at the back of my car. You don't have to believe me. And I no longer have the patience to convince you, so just leave me be, Ashton.
He doesn't push it, growing quiet instead, although I know he has a whole case of it prepared inside his head. But there's a reluctant shift in his movement when he steps away from our conversation. Short of climbing the stairs, he stops, turns to face me with an expression almost too... conflicted?
Are you really sure
What?
that there was something? That you've been, seeing things?
Here we go.
Yes, I'm very, very certain. Now go. And you better not break anything in there. The last time I let you stay over, it was that statuette Belle gave me. You haven't even replaced that one.
The last of my reprimand goes both unheard and unanswered as he disappears behind the stairs. If things aren't as strained, he might have a quip or two about that, followed by a light banter. Instead, for a long moment, I'm left staring after him. There's something in the way he asked it that nags, coupled with his expression, the whole exchange just feels unsettling.
How late is it at night, too, by the way?
That's what I was wondering. One that doesn't fade even after I gather my thoughts and shift my focus on another, even as I dial Professor Andrews' number. And that is when it clicks. During the long wait for the professor, one stray thought emerges from the unease. Ashton is not intended for his question to be a jibe. It's concern. For what, though? For my well-being? The letter's curse? The woman I mentioned? The answers for those will have to wait, however. Finally, the call connects and Professor Andrews' voice echoes from the receiver.
Professor Andrew?
Rebecca? It's late.
Yep.
What can I do for you?
I know, I'm sorry, but this is a bit urgent.
After all, this is a more pressing matter. Our lives might be at stake and we're still in the dark.
Actually, I was wondering if I could ask you to do me a favor.
At 12:30 at night?
Yeah, it's the time for favors. Dut-dut-dut.
Wait, we don't get to find out?
Well, I'm assuming he agreed to do it.
Oh,
Yeah, there we go. Professor Andrew Clark has agreed to meet with me 2 days later in front of Luxborn's public library. He has other commitments, but being a longtime family friend has its perks. I have my parents' connections to thank for that.
Man, does he know everybody? Ashton, and then Ashton connected with all these people, and then now she's like, oh, I know this person because he's got connections with my family.
Is this also the day...
Marianne went missing the day before. We're on the 30th.
Oh, never mind. I was wondering about the day, if this was the day, didn't Zach run into him at one point?
Ashton?
No, Andrew.
I don't know.
Of course, I'm not the sort to impose on him often, but the situation is, well, it's not entirely bad, although it does require calling in a few favors from friends like him. Without his signature, I won't be able to gain access to the library's restricted section. If I want to get more in-depth information on the Ermengarde mansion, that is, not simply what they choose to show to the general public. As much as I hate to admit it, there's always something people censor, and whatever it is, I won't ever find it in the general section. It has to be what they're keeping here beyond the public eye. The thought of that alone makes me antsy. Thankfully, I don't have to brood over it. The wait for the professor doesn't last long. He never did enjoy making people wait. Likewise, he dislikes people who are tardy. He arrives 5 minutes after I do, greeting me with that kind smile and casual wave of his hand. I haven't seen him in so long, but it appears he hasn't changed much. His familiar presence alone is enough for a fond smile to spread across my face.
Professor Andrew.
Rebecca. Didn't I say long ago you can drop the professor?
You know I can't possibly do that. Even if I can, it feels disrespectful to call you by your name alone.
Fact.
Both you and Ashton never listen to this old man.
Also a fact.
Kids these days.
All right. But just for today, since you're doing me a huge favor, Andrew.
I guess you simply can't have it all, even at this old age. But pleasantries aren't what we're here for, yes? You mentioned you needed a permit.
Yes, sir, if that's okay with you.
More than fine. Anything in pursuit of knowledge, as they say.
He hands me the permit without further prompting. And just like he promised, he's also written a recommendation after his signature. This is more than enough to get me to those files. I mutter a small thanks before slipping it into my pocket. Although when I look back up, his brows are furrowed, the very face of curiosity. Not surprising considering how vague I've been during our little talk over the phone. Right then and there, I've decided to tell him if he ever asks. Maybe not all of it, but stuff he needs to know. It's the least I can do to thank him. As expected, true to his inquisitive nature, he asks,
If you don't mind, though, I know you've always been an eager learner, but may I know what in the restricted section that piqued your curiosity?
The articles.
It's the God Mansion, sir.
read it for the articles.
Pretty much.
He's quick to raise an eyebrow at that, and for a while, I fear he'll take the slip of paper back. Is there something in what I said?
The ones they have out in the general isn't enough?
I'm, hoping for a more in-depth read, sir. More about the history and the people who once lived there.
All right, she's gonna
The
find
general
out
section doesn't have
more
anything
about
much
who
on
lived
that.
there and who this could be.
Oh,
Makes
I
sense.
see. Well, you certainly aren't the first one to be enamored with that place.
Not even the first to do that recently. And talk to you about it.
It
Coincidence?
doesn't shock me. The architecture is admirable, and the urban legends are something to talk about. Why, just this past week, I've got a few asking me about
There
that.
you go.
Imagine that.
Yep.
I think enamored might be a little too much to describe our interest in it. But I have to agree. The mansion is beautiful, even with the renovations. They kept the stained glass windows, too.
I
They
feel
are
like
magnificent.
it's a pretty mansion, but I would never want to live there. It's not my taste.
Yeah.
It'd be a cool museum.
That's what they should have done with it. Made it a museum.
Oh, they could have made it a two-for museum, where during the day it's a regular museum. At night, you can come get your ass handed to you by a ghost.
Yeah, but like they have the letter facing backwards during the day and then flip it.
Oh, you've seen it.
I was there for a few hours to attend a housewarming party. The invitation was for my parents, but they couldn't make it. My mum used to work as a private tutor for the Evans. Hannah Wright?
Ah, I know of her. Her husband, too. Who doesn't?
Ooh, he got snotty looking about that.
Luxborn's most popular couple.
I like that most popular is in italics. Something falls behind his eyes, the warmth in them suddenly gone, like he's reliving a painful, distant memory and seeing it play right in front of him.
He must have talked to Luke.
Right? It disappears almost as soon as it surfaces, but that look has unsettled something in me.
Is something the matter?
Nothing much. But you know, you're already like a daughter to me. So if you could, do be careful with the friends you make.
Is this about the Wrights, sir?
Just a friendly advice from an old man. Don't think much about it.
Because he got cross with, I want to say, was it Zach
Yeah.
earlier?
I think
For
so.
bringing them up. He got like really upset.
Anyway, I have to leave now. Can't miss my weekly serving of bear claws.
Ooh, I'll take a bear claw.
Yeah, all right, bear claw break.
We always
Say
talk
hi
about
to your parents at
pastries
the
and these
detective
things, and we
inspector
never
for
get
me,
any
will you?
pastries.
I wish you luck with all that research.
Donuts.
Donuts have been the big one.
claws,
Bear claw.
Danish.
Now you're just listing foods.
I will. Thanks for this, Andrew.
You know who actually makes really good bear claws? Panera.
Really? Never had it.
They're good. So good. Sorry. I derailed this
Hashtag,
conversation.
hashtag not sponsored.
But could be.
Maybe.
Panera.
It could happen.
Call us.
Andrew gives my shoulder a light squeeze. The gesture of a younger me is always appreciated, and quickly crosses the street after. I watch him until he disappears behind the door to a cafe, until the doubt swimming inside my head finds a moment to rest. Whatever his business is with the rights isn't anything I should concern myself about. But somehow, in the grand scheme of things now, all of it feels oddly relevant. The how, though, I've yet to find out. And I'm hoping the library will give me the answers I want this time. On a gloomy Sunday morning, the library is especially empty. The second floor in particular. I've always considered this place to be a sanctuary, a respite away from the hubbub of the city. As a child, I grew up reading books here, spending hours here to no end, poring over the pages, living out fantasies in my head until my parents called me home. Now it feels nothing like it. The silence is smothering, suffocating. Even with how clean they've kept the microfiche room, how the entire small of it lacks a speck of dust or clutter. Breathing is a struggle for air. Not far into my stay, I begin to long for the noise outside, and perhaps as a way to calm this unease, I start to hum a tune. Imagine that. I had a feeling.
Singing the stupid London Bridge song. No. No.
I'm waiting for that to be a thing later, too.
I can never hear this song anymore without thinking of this game.
Yeah, it's been ruined. Why, of all things, it has to be that silly nursery rhyme? I've not an inkling. It does its job, however. It fills the lull with something far less awkward. Really? Far less deafening, and that is enough for a distraction.
The demon child was singing that to you, woman.
I have business here. No time for silly daydreams, only important work to attend to. Even if there's a possibility of it being fruitless, by some means it feels like I have to do it. If not for me, then for the people who have been affected by this, what do we even call this? A haunting? A Halloween prank gone wrong? A curse? If Isabella were here, what would she say? Story updated. Will she panic? Will she be angry I only listened to her now? It all stems from that one moment in the movie house, doesn't it? We could have avoided this had we only taken our warnings to heart. One stupid mistake is all it took to send our normal lives on a downward spiral. I'm like, what else could they have done? Sure, they could have believed her, but then what would they do?
Right.
Frankly, I'm no longer sure if I'm angry at myself for it or at the universe for throwing us into this mess. But we can only make do of what little we have, and that's exactly what I'm doing. Going here might not be the right decision, but it's a start.
A good start.
It doesn't take much time for me to find what I need. A microfiche of old newspapers, long kept in special storage cabinets at the far end of the restricted section. The year is 1620s and beyond. Before the city of Luxborn even existed in the records, when the mansion has just been built, and Anselm is nothing more but a small, sleepy hamlet near a river. A lot of pieces are missing, days, sometimes several consecutive weeks without any records remaining. Often it goes on for years. Troublesome, but as it is, I'm lucky enough to find anything at all considering how far I'm looking back. Can't be picky now. Can't waste time mulling over what record keepers of the old could have done to make this a breeze for me.
I can still work with this.
The faint whir of the microfiche machine keeps me company as I go over each slide, each image, hoping for something that goes beyond what the local lore knows. There are snippets, like mentions of the family that once settled in the house, here and there. The usual singing of praises for the couple who helped brought up what was once a tiny settlement into a buzzing town. Nothing substantial, nothing I didn't know before. It continues on like this for a good while, until I come by the years after their deaths. The people of Anselm might have loved Lord William and Lady Elizabeth Ermengarde, mourned their passing and held them in high esteem in the years after. But it was their daughter that was remembered fondly by the townspeople. If her parents built this town, Lady Charlotte was the one who made it prosper. Remarkable, considering it was a period of recovery from a bout of plague that killed half the town's population, including her parents. Whoa.
Oh. Free at last. Heir puts a stop to local slave trade.
We'll just have to find out more about this in the next episode. For a second, I thought at first, when I saw the image on there, I thought this was going to be like
witch burning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I wonder if that could maybe be where it goes. I don't think that's what that picture is supposed to be, though.
Nope.
Okay.
Looks like a slave auction.
Yeah. Just have to find out what happened next time. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time.